This is obviously the Political Spotlight. I am your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. This is actually the 40th episode on the new platform. Hundreds of years in broadcast, but the 40th episode. So welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be talking in just a few moments with our guest, Miss Holly Juip. Last name is Yipe. That's I was all big and bad. I thought I had it right and was saying it right, but I was not. It's spelled Juip, pronounced Yipe, like hype. So we'll be joining with her in just a few seconds. I do ask everyone to please share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word. For those of you that are in Muncie, this will be an interview candidate with a Muncie candidate. She is a Democratic candidate running for one of the 3 at-large positions. It's very, very, very important to tell everyone, remember. We always push not to vote straight ticket. I'm not saying don't go in and vote all one party one way or the other, although I don't really always push that. But I say if you're going to go in and vote straight Republican or straight Democrat, that's fine, but go down through the system and press it, because if you go in to vote and you press the button for straight Democrat or straight Republican, you will leave the at-large candidates blank. So do not do that. I know so many people do that. I know that happens. It's always a major fear of mine. Make sure to go through and select all of the candidates, specifically the at-large candidates. There are a whole plethora of candidates. There are 7 currently running: a Libertarian, 3 Republicans, and 3 Democrats. She is one of the 3 Democrats that are running. And without further ado, we will get ready to bring her up. I do also want to say just one more reminder before we bring up housekeeping point. Registration to vote ends here, ladies and gentlemen. Just we're knocking on the door. It is not next week, but the week following. Registration to vote ends at 11:59 on Tuesday, October 10th. So please be sure to get registered. You know what you've got to do. Kate's got it up there on the screen. Voter registration ends for the 23rd General Municipal Election, Tuesday, October 10th, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. You can register to vote by going to www.indianavoters.com. That's www.indianavoters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we will be bringing our guest on screen with us. Give me just a moment. Hello.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
Oh, pretty great. It's been a beautiful day in Muncie.
Yes, it has. Absolutely. So welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad that you are interviewing with us.
I'm glad to be here. It's a show I've watched before, but hadn't really pictured myself being on, but I hadn't pictured myself running for city council before either.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I think is interesting about you, and we're kind of jumping the point here a little bit, but I think it's important because I heard you say this you're not originally from Muncie, correct?
I'm not. I grew up about an hour north of Detroit.
Okay.
So in a little town called Emily City, and my family thinks I got a Southern accent now. But I love Muncie. I chose Muncie. I came here for Ball State and really realized that this was a community that I wanted to live and grow and raise my child in.
Yeah, that's cool. I always said that I'm originally from Muncie, born and raised in Muncie, and for a 10-year period, I moved to Winchester, and I've always been politically active here since I was a young child. When I moved to Winchester, I got involved in politics over there and I ran. And there was such a toxic culture of you don't go here, you're not from here type of mentality. And I always told everyone I talked to, like, I get it. It's great to be from someplace and have roots, and my great grandfather was from here, but you guys were born here. Like, I chose to come here. Like, I could have lived anywhere. I could live in my hometown. I could live anywhere around the globe, and I choose to live here. And to me, that's a big thing. And I heard you say that the other night, and I feel like a lot of times candidates gets a lot of heat for that because they're not from a place, and it's like that's so backwards to me. So I liked hearing you say that, and I thought that was a kind of a cool thing because that really resonates with me. So,
well, thank you. I think a lot of people in Muncie that resonates with. We know we've got the university here. We know we have the hospital that brings people in from all over the globe. And it's amazing when people want to choose to be here, and they see maybe a different point of view about some things that are really wonderful within this community.
Absolutely. So for the people that don't know you, you've got seems like quite a few fans in the chat already. Producer Kate will be putting, if there are questions or anything that come up that we don't think of or that we think is very important to you, we'll put them up on the screen. You're always free to go back afterwards. I do like to remind guests that after the live interview, for about a 24-hour period, the live chat box is not visible. But after a 24-hour period, you will be able to go back and see all of that live chat box. So you can always go back and view or answer any questions that maybe we don't get to. But we'll try to get to everything that happens if there's specifically something big. But for the people that don't know you, we've already started doing that. But why don't you give a little bit of biography of who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I went to Ball State for political science and then tacked on anthropology. I've always been incredibly interested in people and places and what makes them special. After graduation, I tried a few things. I'm a millennial. And so right after graduation in those 2007, 2008 years were a little tough. Like many people my age, I was working 2 jobs to try to pay all my bills. And, we just worked hard for a long time. And when I left college, I went to Indianapolis, but then I came back and chose Muncie again because that's where I wanted to have my daughter. And I saw a lot of opportunity here. And some of the opportunity started with all the great childcare centers. Muncie is an amazing town to raise a family in. And compared to a lot of the surrounding counties, we have a lot more resources for young families than anyone else. And that really appealed to me. Then as I moved particularly into the nonprofit world and volunteering, which is something I've always felt passionate about, I saw more and more how people were affected by housing and quality of housing here. So over the years, I've been involved. I was the former chair of the City of Muncie Historic Preservation and Rehabilitation Commission. I'm on the board at Cornerstone Center for the Arts. I'm a member of the Martin Luther King Dream Team. Pretty active in the Old West End neighborhood, and I'm also on the board of the Old West End has an economic revitalization. We call it owner. It's a long name, but it's owner.
Okay. So it's kind of like you have just been like, almost one step adjacent to like the political side of public service. So you've been in kind of the community aspect and you've been involved with public service type things.
Absolutely.
And so this is not something that's too new and foreign to you. So that's cool. We've got something, I guess, that's just burning a big question that we won't wait till the end. Everybody is asking, and I don't even like to say one of these words, but I will because the people are asking. The biggest question, I think, is probably going to decide if you win or lose the election. Is it soda or pop?
Ooh, it's pop.
Okay, all right. Well,
it's pop. It's pop. I'd love to bring a bottle return here. That's how I paid for my gas when I was a teenager. Yeah. That's how, when you were at the ballpark and you were a kid, you paid for your hot dog and your candy was finding pop bottles and taking them into the concessions to get 10 cents back on that bottle deposit. So
yeah, you're correct. I try my very, very, very best to not say the S word. I am not big on that. I don't like it. I don't like the sound of it. I cringe when other people say it. So, and I'm not, listen, I know that I guess they say that pop sounds kind of, I don't know, hillbilly or Southern or whatnot, not to bash anyone, but it just seems like I can deal with pop. I'm more someone that says, goes by name. I would like a Dr. Pepper, bring me a Coke, something like that. I don't really even like pop that much, but I will say pop more than soda. So I guess we've now answered the questions for everybody else. We can pretty much wrap this up, but I still have
we're good
for you.
Vote for Holly. She drinks pop.
Yes, right. So, what do you think, being on some of those boards and some of those other activities has taught you or prepared you for being a counselor of Muncie? Because a lot of the things that you talk about are things that are important in city government, but it's something that is it's not like the top priority of a lot of people. And so then a lot of things get kind of pushed to the wayside. And then by the time they are something that the city must deal with, it's a major problem, and it's normally major expenses and things like that. So what do you think that being in those positions has taught you, and how's that prepared you moving forward as a counselor?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that has prepared me for council is that I've had a wide variety of jobs. I was a retail manager. I was a landscaper. I do work for Heart of Indiana United Way now. I'm the assistant director of community mobilization. And so I think I've had some different viewpoints kind of all around the community. And because of that, I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. And I am just as comfortable talking to someone at Ball State as I am talking to someone that's just at the gas station. When you're in retail, you have to solve a lot of problems really quickly, and you have to talk to a lot of people. And that's really helped me with campaigning, is meeting new people and feeling confident and comfortable to talk to them and listen. And then transitioning into the nonprofit community, we always talk about listening and learning from the community. I don't want to do anything to this community. I want to work with our community. And for the past 5 years, I've answered the phones at United Way, and I hear from people that are struggling the most. People that don't have safe housing, people whose landlords aren't responsive and their utility bills are through the roof, and now they're struggling, or they're one paycheck from disaster. And we think a lot about businesses and corporations, but what makes a city is the people that live there. And if we don't listen to the people that live there, we're not going to make decisions in their favor.
Absolutely. Councilwoman Troy Ingram, who is not up for election this go around, but is currently on the council, asked a very good question here. What do you feel as a candidate running for council at large is the first and foremost duty of a city council person?
Well, I think the base duty of city council is really to provide the city's budget. Where we have some wiggle room is how we place those dollars in the budget. It's obviously got to be balanced. That's state law. But where we can impact our community is in using that budget to really develop the community. As we grow our tax base, we grow our budget, and it's city council's job to be wise in how we invest those dollars.
That kind of takes me into it's almost a two-parter. First and foremost, I want to ask, and this is very important to me, prior to this council and the way that it had been for quite some time in Muncie, there still is this committee. It's a 3-person finance committee. However, this current council, since they've been in office, actually, it didn't start the first year, but it started the second year when Jeff Robinson took over as president. One of the things that I would say 5 or 6 various candidates, plus some that lost, ran on last time was, if they became council members, they were going to make it to where the budget process was something that all 9 council members were involved in. Because prior to that, the budget process was a 3-person finance committee, dealt with the budget like the council did the other night, called the people in. They dealt with doing all of that. And then once they had done all of that, they then took the budget back to the rest of the council, and everyone else just kind of voted on it. And what you would have is people would say, well, those other council people can be in the audience, but a lot of times they weren't. And so one of the things that I really pushed in the 2019 election was getting candidates to say that they would pledge that if they won, that they would make the council budget process a 9-member process. Is that something that you could say that you would pledge to? I mean, do you understand the importance of all 9 people being involved?
I think all 9 people definitely should be involved. I would probably want to look at some of our ordinances and maybe get some legal counsel, because I want to make sure that we do things the right way. Sure. But I also think it's high time that we run both city council and our city government as if we're living in 2023 and that we're looking to 2050. Yeah. And unfortunately, the way that things are right now, especially outside of not just in council, but outside of council, with how the public has the ability to deal with public meetings and public documents, there's a lot of barriers, whether it's meetings that are at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday when people are at work, or whether you're trying to get minutes or agendas. We've gotten a lot better about putting things online, but sometimes it's still hard to find up-to-date information on the city's website, or it's in a place that you have to go down a rabbit hole to find.
Yeah, that is really big. Well, I would just I definitely understand your answer, and I think that's a respectable answer. I think it's a safe answer. The council currently, for the last 3 years, they have been doing the budget as a 9-member board. It meets all legalities of the council. A lot of other councils do it the same way. I don't know why the city for so long did it with a 3-member board, but I would just definitely highly ask that you check into that. And if for some reason there's anyone on the council that would want to change it back to just the 3 members, hopefully you'll be a voice to say, hey, if this is legal, we need to. There's nothing that just because the council makes that 3-member board. So basically, what I see when that happens is you have elected council members that are giving up a main part of their ability to have their hands in the budget process. And like we said, that's one of the main forefronts of being a council person. That kind of takes me into my second question, and that is, besides the budget, to me, a council person is seen as it's representative government. You're a representative of the people. You'd be an at-large member, so you're a representative of everyone in the city if everything goes your way on election day. And so with that comes the need, and you've already talked about talking with people, and you seem like that wouldn't be a problem. One of the things that's very interesting is no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, one of the things that I did at the beginning of this year was I looked back at all of the votes that this current council has made in the first 3 years and the first month or 2 months of this year. And one of the things that we found was like 89% of the votes were 9-0. I think it jumped even higher, like 95% of the votes were 908172. So there's not a whole lot of like crazy, 5-4 votes going on. So one of the big things to me that sets counselors apart, because obviously when you vote, it doesn't seem historically to be much difference between the council members. Yeah, there might be discussion and argument, but at the end of the day, if a lot of stuff is a 9-0 vote or an 8-1 vote, there's just not a lot of difference. So one of the things for me that sets people aside is their ability to talk with the public and to be that good representative of the public, whether you're a district councilor or an at-large councilor. So, I know we've talked a little bit about that, but if you would talk a little bit about the representative side and how that's important or to you or not.
Oh, that's a great question, because that's part of what brings me here right now is, as we talked about earlier, I was kind of adjacent to politics for many years, working in community service. And as I was adjacent, I wasn't totally inactive. So when there were things like the possibility of the YMCA going to Toohey Park,
Yes.
I was always an active voice in our community. I've always stood up, especially for my neighborhood. And earlier this springtime, I was out at Prairie Creek Reservoir. I'm there almost every week, and I love kayaking and paddleboarding. I like to mountain bike out there, and there was trash on the beach. And I had called and messaged several people within the city to let them know that there's trash on the beach. There was still trash on the beach, and I'm talking a mountain of plastic that I just didn't have the capability to pick up. And I wasn't really getting any answers. So then I turned to city council, and our city council did much better than our city administrators in that I heard back from 3 people. But a lot of times there's not a lot of response from your council members. You can't really be representing people if you're not willing to respond to them once you're in office. And so that's kind of one of the things that fired me up when I was asked to run, is I thought, if not me, then who? And I can't be upset that I don't get responses back from my representation if I'm also not willing to represent other people.
Absolutely. Very good. So, okay, one of the things that, so it's kind of strange because I feel like for the most part, the current council that's in place, has done a really good job. We have a couple people that are on the council that are just absolutely fantastic.
And I think that's a good, some of the things you brought up are good reasons why Jeff Robinson's going to make an amazing mayor, is that he's been putting Muncie first. He's willing to work with both sides of the aisle. And if we remember what it looked like a few years ago, city council was a mess. Yeah. So I think it's fantastic that we have an opportunity to put Jeff in City Hall and have some new people on council that are also willing to work hard and be responsive and really put Muncie first and choose Muncie.
That's good. That sets me up for the question that moving forward, no matter what goes on, the council is going to look different. There's no way that January 1st, 2024, the council will continue being as it is. And
it's going to be more representative of Muncie, because it's not just going to be mostly white men.
Okay, that's good. And that is something that a lot of people have had issue with. And I know that that's something that people have brought forward, and that's always a good addition to Muncie. Adding more folks to Muncie that makes it more representative of Muncie's overall look. That's a good thing. Are there any issues, and I feel like so many times when people campaign, there's this need or this desire to focus on all of the positive, and that's good and that's wonderful. But I think sometimes it might be a little like, too much glass half full, or looking through rose-colored glasses. And I think it's important to not get to the point where we're having like toxic positivity, where it's okay to also look at, negatives and how we might be able to improve. So can you think of things that might be an issue moving forward for the council, or things that, like, do you see anything moving forward that you think is going to be a learning curve for folks, and something that, you feel that you can help with overcoming, what makes you stand out from the rest of the 7 council candidates, 6 other council candidates for the at-large position?
Well, I think some of the things that make me stand out is that I'm very interested in data-driven decision making. I want to bring Muncie forward, like I said earlier, into 2050. And I think that economic development is community development. And our strongest asset that we have is the people that live here. And so if we can invest in the core of our city, if we can make sure that our development is focused in an equitable manner. Right now, we've been putting a lot of development on the outskirts of town. I'm not sure that return on investment is great when we have to put all new sewer systems, water, whole new infrastructure out for places that those dollars aren't necessarily going to even come back to Muncie. They might be going further afield, but we could invest and develop some of our historically disinvested neighborhoods, Whiteley, Industry, even the Old West End. If we choose Muncie and we put Muncie first, then we can have a stronger community to live in that's better for every single person that lives here. If we have a strong downtown, if we have strong donut neighborhoods, we're going to have a strong city, because we've already got strong people.
Yeah. Damn, that's a really good answer. Well, so, I know we're getting a little late. You said it was a school night. I don't want to keep you all evening, but,
yeah, I've got a little north side tie-in.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want the citizens to hear or the citizens to know about?
I think one thing that I had on my notes to talk about and add is that we've had a lot of discussion lately about public safety and violence. And I think it's really important that we have representation across the board when we're having these conversations, and that as we move forward, we have trained and properly certified public safety officials. That's such a huge important issue for our community, is that people need to be both trained and properly certified. Our public safety officials deserve that type of resource and support. And I think our community deserves to have our first responders being the best available. I also would like to say that I think Muncie needs to not be afraid of being Muncie. We shouldn't be afraid to step out in front and not be following behind other cities that are using a 20-year-old model. Let's be first. Let's be Muncie.
Let's be Muncie. That's really good. Well, I appreciate it. Let's see here. Is there anything? Let me go to the starred comments real quick just to double check and make sure there's nothing that looks like we're good there. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, and I definitely will. We've got 39 days until the election. You are definitely welcome back anytime between now and then. If there's something else that you want to get out, I definitely welcome you here anytime, when or otherwise. You're definitely available and welcome to pop on if you have anything that you want to let the citizens of Muncie know. I thank you for sitting down and
Excellent.
talking with us, and wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you. I appreciate everybody that's watching tonight. I appreciate the invitation. If you want to get a hold of me, you can reach out at Holly, the number 4, Muncie at gmail.com. And I would just ask, when you go to vote on November 7th and you are looking at candidates, make sure that you check those city council at large, because however you vote, we do have to be chosen individually. And I hope you start with Holly Yipe with the J.
Yeah. Oh, and that's something we didn't cover. I am saying it right? Yipe with the J. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on, and we'll can't wait to see how it goes.
All right. Sounds good. We'll see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Holly Yipe. That's one of the 3 Democratic candidates running for the at-large position on the Muncie City Council. Of course, that means that she's one of 7 candidates that are running, which is made up of a Libertarian, 3 Democrats, and 3 Republicans. The voters of Muncie have a choice between those 7 candidates. You can pick 1, 2, or 3 of them. So I think that citizens have a good array of candidates to choose from in this year's race. Unfortunately, I've always said, my number 1 pick was Troy Ingram. Troy, unfortunately, is not on the ballot. Some party politics got in the way there. Of course, we all know what happened there. Wah, wah, wah. But I don't think Troy is done. I don't think that we've seen the last of him, and I'm going to continuously browbeat him into remaining in politics. I think he's going to stick around. Troy says here, matter of fact, a good question. Troy says, Chris, I may have missed it, but do we have a list of those that have agreed to interview with you? So I want to say this. Yes, we will have a list of those candidates directly. The reason I have not announced that yet is unlike a lot of years before, a lot of times the candidates were either people I knew in years past or whatnot. And there are some candidates, I got to be honest, there are some candidates this go around that have been harder to get a hold of. And I don't want to say that that's bad. Like, I don't want to say that they're avoiding. I'm just saying initially, like, I didn't have some of their numbers. I didn't know some of their emails. Some of them have been harder to find on Facebook, which as voters may or may not tell you guys anything that you want to know. You have to decide from there. But I have been in the process of going through and asking everybody. I have a couple different lists. I have a couple different lists here. I have a Muncie list, an Anderson list, a Newcastle list, a Winchester list. Here's my list of Muncie candidates. I still have just a few more candidates to hear back from and or to confirm that they've got the message or whatnot. So I have not currently, I have not currently listed all of the candidates that I have asked and all of the candidates that have either said yes or no. I will say an accusation was made today that a series of candidates approached a person in local government and told this person in local government, who it would be a really weird person for these candidates to talk to. Of course, I don't know the names of the candidates. I was told that it was 1 Democrat and 2 Republicans, and that they told this man that that Kristopher Bilbrey has asked me to interview, and Kristopher Bilbrey has said that if we don't interview with him, he's going to make our lives a living hell, and he's coming after us. Like, I mean, with a Jason mask on, a Freddy hand, with the big dinosaur, like Jurassic Park stomps and everything included. I don't know. I mean, I just, what an incredibly ludicrous, short-sighted, ignorant old fool to make a comment like that. When he made that comment, comically, he did not know who I had spoke to or not spoke to. And so what's funny to me, and unfortunately none of the rest of you will know, but what's funny to me is the time that he made that comment, 11:58 on Thursday the 28th of September, his numbers didn't add up, because the people that I've spoke to that have already agreed versus the people that have already came on. And the fact is, as of this date and time right now, and definitely as of 11:58 this morning, no one has told me no. I have not heard no from anyone. So first and foremost, that. Second of all, we have a list here in the city of Muncie of 12 Democrats running for office. We have a list of 11 Republicans and 1 Libertarian. That's 24 candidates in total. Do I believe that all 24 candidates are going to interview with me? I absolutely do not believe that. You want me to tell you why? Because some of the people that are running do not care about communication. They do not care about transparency. They do not care about the public's perception of them. They do not care. All they care about is maintaining party position, maintaining power so that they have that connection to the party, maintaining the party's power, and doing what a bunch of losers that are around them are telling them to do. The thing I've never understood is, when you're a candidate, it's your name on the ballot. You win or you lose. It is what it is. I don't know whatever. I don't know what else to say, you know? So when you're a candidate and you're not going out and trying to beat down the door of anyone that you can talk to magnify your voice, you're telling the voters something like, listen, these interviews are not about me. I would be perfectly, you know what I would have done tonight? You know what I would have done tonight if Holly wouldn't have been on, or I would have done the other night if I wouldn't have interviewed Audie, or I would have done the other night if Andrew hadn't been on? I would have done a show where I talked about politics in Muncie. It's not like I need these candidate interviews. They're not. I enjoyed talking to Holly. I learned things that I did not know about her. I feel like that's the longest I've heard her speak. I think that she is a great candidate. Holly was not difficult to get in touch with. Matter of fact, Holly called me. Holly contacted me and said, you know, she was very, very easy to get in contact with, and made herself available. Matter of fact, she just reached out to me, 2 nights ago, and was like, hey, let's do it this week. And I'm like, okay, rock and roll. She was like, oh man, the earliest I can do it is like Thursday. And I'm like, what? Well, it's Wednesday. It wasn't really Wednesday, but I'm like, okay, yeah, that's rock and roll. So have I threatened anybody? No, I'm not going to threaten anybody. I said it the other night. I'm not going to beat anybody's door down. Does that mean that if there are candidates that are unwilling to come on and talk, that I'm going to tell them? I'm going to tell the listeners, I'm going to tell voters, I'm going to tell the public, hey, these candidates will not come on? hell yeah, I'm going to yell that from the rooftops. If I find that there are candidates that are not willing to communicate, not to me, I'm nobody. Look, hey, Mr. Jones, you don't have to convince me that I'm nobody. What makes the show is the audience. I'm just like the vessel. You know, it's kind of like a preacher. It's not the preacher's not the focus. It's the word. Okay? Now, I don't want to compare myself to preaching the gospel here by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just trying to say that it's not me. I'm not the show. I've said it before. Candidates govern like they run their campaign. And I want to be honest. I'm not the person who said that. I am not the person who said that. A very intelligent person that I know said that, and I was like, yeah, I'm stealing that. That is great. Joey, that's perfect. You're merely the hub. We're the spokes to the wheel. Very, very true. So the fact, and the other aspect of this is we have this man, and he made post after post after post today where it's like this is the man that physically has attacked me 3 times while in government buildings. So he has some kind of very bizarre, weird obsession with me. He talks to me about, how not important I am, how vulgar I am, what a gutter show this is, and that nobody needs to be connected with it. I'm like, okay, I agree with all of that. I'm the lowest piece of trash there is. I'm a piece of shit. The show is garbage. It's horrible. It's wonderful. I'm glad that you agree. Why do you care so much? Why do you interact with me so much? Go about your amazing and wonderful life. Now, I truly believe that it's different. I truly believe that he is a washed up has-been fool who is desperately trying to hang on to any amount of credibility that he has. I don't even know if he watches or not. I don't care if he watches or not. It's great if he watches, it's great if he doesn't. The fact that he is willing to engage. Literally, I've been in a government building minding my own business, going about my day, and this man has waddled out of a hole in the wall to physically assault me on 3 occasions. Very bizarre. This man is bizarre. Literally, while he's been on the clock, I had to stop today. And text the councilors of the Delaware County Council and say, is this man getting paid tax dollars? He's been communicating with me all day. And when called out about it, he's like, well, we all get lunches and breaks. Dude, if you're getting paid, if you have this many breaks and lunches throughout the day, we should not be paying you tax money. And then he goes on to say, in one of the most beautiful posts that I have seen, he goes on to say that he has it from good authority that I have been offered a position as communications director for Jeff Robinson's campaign, and that Sarah Beach is going to be the personnel director. Well, first and foremost, other than being friends, Sarah and I are not connected. If she is the personnel director of the city of Muncie, again, great. If she's not, great. That's not going to make or break her. Like, I hope the best for her. But like, what happens with me and what happens with I've made this declaration before, and I'm going to make it again. I am not taking a job with the city of Muncie under any mayoral administration. I would not take a job under the city of Muncie for a mayoral in a mayoral administration. taking a political government job would shut this down. If Jeff, and Jeff, you're right, Denise. Audie's not going to sleep tonight because Mike won't talk to him. Here's the thing. Denise, Audie says, I can say Jeff hasn't promised anyone to anything. Denise says Jeff made it clear in recent forums he wasn't promising any positions to anybody. And that's probably true. Can I say 1,000% for sure if I know if Jeff has promised anybody anything? I don't know that. I'm not with Jeff 24 hours a day. Has Jeff asked me to be the communications director? No, he has not. Have I asked Jeff to ask me to be the communications director? No, I have not. If Jeff came to me begging me to be the communications director, and I'm not saying he would. Oh, Troy Ingram's the building commissioner. I remember that. I remember when Troy Ingram was going to be the building commissioner. So I just but yet I'm the liar and I'm the trash. Listen, what I want to know is there somewhere in the city administration for an old washed up stamp licker? Could the city of Muncie not use those services too? This stamp tastes like mothballs, sweat, and regret. What a weirdo, man. What a weirdo. I don't know. Bottom line, yes, Mike, and anyone else out there listening, I can promise you, if there are candidates that choose not to interview with me or anyone else, if they choose to be quiet in the face of the public clamoring for more information, I am going to call those people out. I'm coming back to that. Let me get through this rant, and I'm coming back to that. That is a killer comment. I do not understand that. Yeah, the public and everyone is clamoring for more communication. So if we have candidates that are running that are not willing to sit down and talk, then I am absolutely going to call those people out. Do those people need protective orders? I doubt it. Do those people need to think I'm coming to their house? No, I'm not. I don't care that much. Do those people going to have a miserable life because of Kristopher Bilbrey? I don't know if they will or not. I don't know. Ask Dan. I don't think Dan loses any sleep over me. And, that's the problem. I don't think Dan gives a shit about what anybody says. I don't think James King cares. That's why they do the things that they do, because they don't care. It is what it is. What are you talking about, Diane? I've already got insider information for the show. I'm lined up for the next 6 administrations. Just like that, no problem. So, yeah, I'm going to call candidates out that don't win interviewed. That's the name of the game. That's what they don't like. So I'm just letting people know that I named this episode Connecting the Dots. And the reason I named it Connecting the Dots is I want people to know that, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, if these people are, they're coming on so strong that they don't want to interview and they don't want to do this or don't do that, and they're talking to each other and they're so fearful about it and they're biting their fingernails, but yet at the end of the day, they are interviewing. So it's like, whatever. Why someone would care if they interview with me or not is, if you don't want to watch the interview, turn the channel. Not a big deal. We need candidates who are willing to speak the actual truth, not keep quiet because they're scared of offering someone offending someone or losing a vote. Just be honest and stop being fake politicians. Honestly, that's the truth. That is the truth. people feel like if they make a mistake or say the wrong thing or they offend somebody or they say something that someone does not like, that means the end of their career. Quite opposite. If you're willing to be who you are and be truthful, and you get something wrong and you say it, it is what it is. Yeah, Denise, I would love to see that too. He has been offered the chance to an interview. I interviewed him 2 or 3 times in 2019. I interviewed him 2 or 3 times in 2019. Came on no problems. And all I can say is this. If Dan chooses to interview with me, he will be treated fairly. I'll be tough. I'll ask questions. But, it is what it is. You have to, politically speaking, live and die by the choices you make. And that matters. I don't know. For the folks that have asked, listen, I've lied. There are 25 people that I need to speak with. These 24 candidates and Dark Dan. Now, I don't want to get anybody's hope up, but I have reached out to Dark Dan of the city of Munis, and his people, his dark people are talking to their other dark people. And from the word inside the dark city hall, I am hearing that there will be some form of interview, quite possibly between Dark Dan and I. I'm letting everyone know I'm not 100%. I'm not, I can't necessarily give you a time, a date, a place, when, but I believe that our people are speaking with his people. It's a situation where our idiots are talking with his idiots, and we're trying to make that happen. So,
hey.
Yeah.
Don't lump me in with the idiots.
I just meant me and him.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. You don't get more ignorant than that. So I'll keep you guys posted. I don't know. I know from the city of Munis, wherever I've been trying to find them. I keep going to this other building, and every time I get in there, I'm informed it's the city of Muncie. I've been looking for the city of Munis. I must be using a wrong door somewhere. But wherever they are, I know that there's some kind of a maybe a little issue with the communication. So it might be through like some kind of it might not be a video, it might be like a phone call or something, but we will figure out a way to do that. But yeah, no, Marcy, I respect when someone is wrong and admits, not just to further dig their heels in. No kidding. Yeah, absolutely. So that's it. Just remember, politics can be an abrasive form from time to time. Absolutely, can be abrasive from time to time. 100%. And yes, me too. I just saw that. God, will a real Slim Shady please stand up? Just because someone doesn't agree to your altered version of reality doesn't make them a bigot. Worry about yourself. Not a burden to affirm. Yeah. Let's see here. Someone else. Wait, I got to get back up to this statement because I said it. I would get back up to it, and I know we moved on. The county would be happy to trade the stamp liquor for a 7th round pick. That's probably the statement of the night. I think that's great. Okay. The other thing that I need to talk about this evening is real quick. The deadline is the same deadline as early voting. the candidates that I have asked, they have until 11:59 on Tuesday, October 10th, to either do one of a couple things. They either must schedule an interview with me, they must interview with me, or they must I tell me no, or not tell me anything by 11:59. I'm not going to hound them every day. I'm asking them. When I ask them the one time, then it's their responsibility to get back with me. The period of that will be over on 11:59. So that way, because I've given other people various times, and I'm hearing from them at different dates and things like that. So that's what it is. That's what it is. I'll see your stamp liquor and raise you an economic development director. I love it. I love it. So after the deadline is out, though, I will give a full accounting of the candidates that I asked, the candidates that said yes, and that I'll give you the rundown of those. I mean, the people who've interviewed, you already know. Tonight's interview was interview number 3. Holly was the third interview. The interview I did a couple nights ago was Audie Barber, another Democrat candidate for At Large. And the first interview I did was Andrew Pop, the Republican challenger for District 5 council. So far we've got District 5 Republican Andrew Pop, At Large Democrat Audie Barber, At Large Democrat Holly Juip. I'm not going to say who at this point. I do have an interview lined up for tomorrow evening. So for those of you that want to check out, I do have an interview scheduled for tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. And I also have another interview scheduled for Monday, October 16th at 9 p.m. I then have another candidate that I have talked to that we're going to schedule for next week. I just don't have the date solidified yet. Oh, and I did hear from a biggie today that we're going to have a date on one of the biggies here in the next couple days or so. So we do have interview candidates that are starting to pour in. I have heard from one of the candidates from the mayor's race in Anderson, John Bell. He's going to interview. And so I'm still waiting to hear from there. I'm still waiting for Newcastle and whatnot. I just because here's what I'm going to, Denise. I'm going to share who and what and when and where. I just don't want to put any. Oh, screw it. I'll tell who they are, and if they back out, they back out, and we'll go on that. Okay, that's not a big deal. So tomorrow is District 3 Democrat. District 3 Democrat, current councilor, incumbent, Brandon Garrett. And then on Monday, the 16th, is a Democrat challenger for the city clerk position, Norma Norman. And then I have heard back from mayoral candidate Jeff Robinson. We're scheduling a date. He said he would get back to me the next day or so and schedule a date. And then Steve Craig has stated that he would interview sometime next week. We just need to knock down a hard date. So that's who's currently on the schedule for the next thing. So yeah, you're right, Denise. That's exactly right. Nobody has said no yet. There are a couple Republicans that I'm waiting on their calendar, and so I'll let you know about that as soon as possible. Of course, like I said, Andrew Pop interviewed. He was the first person. So that is that. Okay. The last thing that I want to talk about tonight. Oh, nope. The second to last thing. is this. What's funny about that? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. What's funny about that is in 2019, the majority candidates that wanted to interview were Republicans, and it was the Democrats that were afraid to talk with me. The Democrats said were sending out messages to their candidates not to talk with me, that they were telling their candidates not to interview with me, and we've shifted now. My detractors use that to say Bilbrey's a Democrat. I am the furthest thing from a Democrat, but I don't have a problem calling out dumbass Republicans for being dumbasses when they're dumbasses. Same, I don't have a problem calling out dumbass Democrats when they're dumbasses. If somebody is not good for the job they're doing, or they have issues for that or with that, I don't have a problem calling them out. That's stupid. We all should do that. It's local government, people. Honestly, they're not dealing with a lot of major big R or big D issues. They're dealing with small things. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. I don't even know if it's. I mean, I don't think that I've. Oh yeah, I've got no ambush interview like TMZ. Hey, some of them they've got to go to council meetings. That's always a possibility. No, the reason I'm not doing that is because at the end of the day, if these people signed up to run for office, no, I didn't put a gun to their head. I didn't force them. I listen. There is literally there's no one that I begged to run for office. There are a couple people that I begged to run that did not run, and they didn't run for various reasons. And like specifically, I asked somebody to run against a couple candidates, and they just didn't end up doing it. But there's no one that I forced to run. So these people have decided to do this on their own. Before we roll out of here, I want to, there's two things that I want to cover, just briefly. Let me pull this up here. Number one, we've got news, still news here. Number one, we've got news coming out of Muncie, and we've got news coming out of Newcastle, Henry County. So first and foremost, we're going to finish up here with the Muncie news, and we'll do the Henry County stuff right at the very end. It's just a quick, short segment. So let me get this shared here. Obviously, it's Wednesday. Yeah, right. Just like you said, Yoko, don't interview. It makes a voting decision easy. And there'll be people out there who'll be, wait a minute, Yoko Duo isn't a voter in Delaware County. I don't see that name. That only happens in Henry County. No, it doesn't. It happens everywhere. Let me pull this up here. We're going to go through the Board of Works meeting really quick. Let's see here. Yeah, we got some Sproles stuff that we need to talk about just at the end of the show. It's basically to kind of put the wrap on an old story. We got a records request in today, but before we get there, here is the Board of Works.
Yes.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the September 27th meeting of the Muncie Board of Works. If we could have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Roll call, please. Present.
Present. Present.
We've been presented with the minutes from the September 20th meeting. If we could have a motion to move those along, please.
I move approval of the September 20th minutes
Move
as
it
presented.
along.
And I'll second.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just wanted to point out a couple claims. First of all, this was a health insurance week, so I'm sure you saw that, and I didn't even put it on my email that I sent out yesterday afternoon. But we had a couple purchases of some vehicles by the police department. Our 9/11 fees was paid this week to the county, and our general utilities and health claims. So with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Okay, Linda, do you have any questions?
I did not. I looked them over and it all looked pretty reasonable.
Same.
Okay. Yeah, I will agree, Craig, that they were all pretty well in order. And the only thing that stuck out to me was health claims, health insurance. So
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Very, very expensive. And it needs to be able to be part of a city that can take care of employees like that. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. So, okay, any comments or questions? Okay, go ahead.
Sir, he did have for you.
Good morning. Chris Deegan, Deputy Chief of the Police Department. The couple of vehicle claims that you saw in there that we purchased, I just wanted to bring to the attention to the board is we were awarded a state grant for a licensed social worker and an additional police officer. This is part of the equipment purchases for that program. I just got the last invoices that I needed to submit the equipment.
Oh, you hear that?
claim to
Sproul's
get
grant.
reimbursement in full for all of that. So we will be seeing some reimbursement for that. They're saying that generally speaking, it's going to be somewhere in the 6 to 8 week range. So that's on my to-do list today, but I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the board that we're doing good things at the police department. We got a grant for that and we're going to get our money back.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Yep.
Appreciate
Thanks.
that. That's-
And with that, I would say a big thanks for Chris on working on that with the grant.
Great. Okay, do we have a motion to approve these claims?
Move approval of the claims for $1,360,217.
Second.
Any other comments or questions from the public? Okay, having none. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no unfinished business. We do have some new business. We have two that I want to bring before us. First one is a street closure application for Downtown Development Arts Walk, which is going to take place on October 5th. Cheryl Crowder was scheduled to come in to speak on behalf of this. Cheryl had an emergency, or just could not make it this morning, and so she contacted me. And so I'm just going to present these just so that we can make sure we take care of them. These are road closures and such things that we've already done in the past. And so these are events. This one is for the Downtown Development Arts Walk on 10/5. This would be a closure from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. on October 5th. And it's from Walnut to Charles to the roundabout. And all I know is that that's good.
This.
28. Sounds interesting. So this would be from noon to about 12:30 on 10/28, just a half an hour. Again, Walnut to Main to the roundabout. And this is open to the public. And this is one of those other fine programs brought to us by Downtown Muncie.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to accept this claim or this request?
I move approval of the street closure for 10/28.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And again, Cheryl was sad that she couldn't be here, but we knew we could take care of that for her. So we do have next a request for noise exemption authorization by Phi Kappa
Uh-oh.
Psi.
Noise. Alcohol shootings.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so the ordinance is for actually tomorrow.
I can't remember
I do want
that.
to actually give a big thanks to Lacey for getting this all organized and stuff. Because at Ball State, I was here. You guys probably remember me coming last month.
That's a good
I
question.
came on the August 30th meeting. Since then, Ball State and the IFC board put an entire social pause on all IFC fraternities due to rush week. I'm glad to say that Phi Kappa Psi was four out of the 11 that were not in trouble leading up to that social pause.
Yeah.
So we've kept everything pretty tight. For the party that we have tomorrow, we have 12 sobers picked out. If the ordinance goes through today, we will be talking with UPD, NPD, and then Office of Student Conduct. letting
ordinance
them know
goes
of the
through.
ordinance and the party that we have this all approved.
Uh-huh.
Like I've said before, previous meetings, we have 8 feet by 6 foot chain link fencing that goes around our entire property. It keeps everything enclosed. We don't let anybody in with alcohol that is under the age of 21. They have to dump out their cup and their wristband when they come into our event. They're not allowed to bring cans or anything to the event. People that are too drunk and stuff like that, we send away. They don't come in. And we work with UPD, especially Sergeant Cooper on that, keeping that stuff, nice and neat. We only have it going. I understand that everything can only go till midnight, so we have it starting a little bit early, 9:30. Up until midnight is the ordinance time, and we understand why the city is doing that and changing those ordinance protocols.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments?
The form I have before me is the old form.
Yes.
Do we have the new one that requires the police chief's approval?
I have yet to receive the signed copy from the police chief's office.
Okay.
Which I have received a copy of the police chief's report. And in the best interest of the community and for the force and such, the police chief has denied this just for safety's sake, just because of some issues. Do we want to speak to that,
Well,
Chief Sloan, at all by chance?
I spent an hour on Monday waiting to actually talk to the chief of police. We actually had an entire risk binder of all of our risk protocols laid out. It's about a 40-slide presentation that actually we give to Ball State every single year. We were really ready to give the protocols down. But we weren't able to talk to the chief, which we understand. We just gave the papers to another officer.
So
and
the
they said
chief
those would be
denied
signed
it?
accordingly. But if you guys, do you have any?
Just for the sake of clarity, I don't want to put you on the spot, so.
Yeah, Chief Sloan, Muncie Police. I don't know when you were waiting for me. Was it Muncie Chief or Ball State Chief?
Muncie chief, yeah, we're here on Monday.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know when you were talking
I
to
will
me.
say I
don't
researched the
matter
call
me.
log for the
Does-
Carson
does
address
he
in
just act like an
question and found
asshole
11
there?
calls for service between 2022
What?
and
What
2023.
kind of service is that?
At least 7
What?
of those call log for the Carson address in question. I don't know.
So no.
I don't know when you were waiting for me. Was it Muncie Chief or Ball State Chief?
Muncie chief, yeah, we're here on Monday.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I will say I researched the call log for the Carson address in question and found 11 calls for service between 2022 and 2023. At least 7 of those calls were noise related and 2 mentioned having a permit. I've also received communication from the public regarding this address specifically, and they have asked that no more exemptions be extended. So I am not in favor of endorsing this.
This is disgusting.
And that doesn't mean you can't do what you're doing.
Well,
It just
if I
means-
can explain for a second. So we're a small fraternity on campus. We are only about 40 members. We don't have a house on Riverside. We only have 3 houses on Carson and Linden, and that's the only way we can be socially active. Again, like I said, we were 4 out of the 11 fraternities that have not gotten in trouble, and you could go to Office of Student Conduct and all that for that. It's all true stuff.
Sure.
There's just no way for us to be social without these noise ordinances. And we really try to work close to the city. I mean, I've probably gotten 20 ordinances approved within my time. On August 30th, you guys approved 2 ordinances for the 31st and November 2nd. And those were approved without chief police approval. And with that being changed in the last less than a month, I was still able to try to accommodate.
So
our
they've
exemption.
approved
I was
them
here for
for shit in the future. They've already approved them. Like a month ago, They approved them for stuff for the 31st and in November, but today they're not approving them for something before that. This is ludicrous.
Howard on Monday.
Eric's comment here is gold.
So, and I was
My Lord, is it a college frat house on campus? They are setting up the perfect storm for an animal house. I know. Yes. This is ridiculous. This is Karen. These are college kids. They're not business. These are college kids at a college house, at a frat house, wanting to have a party and wanting a permit so they don't have the neighbors calling and getting shut down, 10 minutes after they start. This is Ball State. Look, Ball State used to be the #1 party school. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad or whatever, but Dean Warmer's very happy. This is ludicrous, man. I cannot believe they literally believe they literally think that this is Ridenour's response to the shooting in Muncie. This is Ridenour's response. Right? Didn't we just buy Don McLean for $55,000 in tax money so that we could have a good relationship with Ball State, because they were gonna pick up and leave? The Board of Works can vote. I've not heard the Board of Works vote. The chief is not a voting member on the Board of Works. The Board of Works still needs to vote. They still need to say yes or no to this. This is disgusting. Karen Haskell, I wouldn't think so. That's right. That's right, Karen. That's what I said. Have a party. Ask for forgiveness later. This is ludicrous. Well, I want to let you all know I have an appointment coming up. I don't know exactly when it is, but I'm going to have old Mr. Fun here and I are getting ready to have a date with Destiny. We're going to have a lunch meeting or something coming up. Give me a second here and I'll tell you. I don't even exactly know when it is or what the deal is. Give me a second here and I'll tell you. I cannot. Again, the Board of Works always gets me. This is something that I had not watched ahead of time, so I didn't know. This is a first time reaction, what you're getting from me here. I had not seen this. I had not watched this. I'm watching this for the first time with all of you. So I know some of you guys probably watched this yesterday when it happened, but I'm watching it for the first time. So you're getting a true reaction. Now stand by here. Let me read this interview. Woo! Okay, well, we're going to, looks like Mr. Baker and I are going to be having a meeting here coming up real quick. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm still very open to meeting with you. I know you care for our community and are an advocate for doing this correctly. I don't know what he's talking about doing this correctly. Regarding your email, I don't have okay, blah, 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 blah. My schedule is rather flexible. What few days times next week could work for you? So we'll be meeting next week, and I'm going to be saying what. Maybe I'll ask him if he's got a couple of. I'll ask him if he's got a couple of hours, and we could watch Footloose, and we could watch a couple of other shows. Frat parties are actually really safe. they are pushing these kids more dangerous activities, i.e. situations where they drink and drive, parties without safety protocols, and sobers. Ding, 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 ding. That is great. See here. Since when does the city of Muncie have a say in what happens on campus? That's state property with its own police department. Yeah, absolutely. I don't, for the love of God, I don't. They're trying to do the right thing here. Yoko, this is a great answer. Frat parties are actually really safe. They're pushing these kids to more dangerous activities, situations where they drink and drive, parties without safety protocols and sobers. That is absolutely gold. That is very good. All right. Let's listen to this now.
Anybody talk to anybody? I just gave the sheets to somebody and they said they'd be signed. But it's really hard when you're competing with other chapters on Riverside that are socially trying to expand their chapters by numbers and get bigger members. But they have a house that encloses them. And the chapters on Riverside are the chapters getting in trouble. Those are the chapters that are having people go to the hospital because they're too intoxicated. We've had that happen. I'll be true about that. We've had that happen in last September, when we threw a three-way party. Those are now not a thing. We don't throw those anymore. But that's where our whole risk plan came about. We've been running a really tight risk plan for the last 2 semesters now, ever since the student conduct risk has changed and ever since the city noise ordinance has changed. But that's why we throw the events there. And it's really hard to throw events if we don't have the proper exemption.
Sure. And we understand that.
But we don't
Again,
care.
We're trying to establish protocol for now and for the future. And the protocol for Muncie right now is safety. And so
even if we have a cop present, we still can't. Even if we have a UPD officer, off-duty officer there, we still can't. Because we've had that before too. I mean, I don't know what we're supposed to do as a chapter. I mean, I'm just trying to.
How does telling kids they can't have a party contribute to safety? When the kids are saying they're going to have security, they're going to have sobers, it's fucking stupid. Mr. Fucking Fun can go fuck himself.
Yeah, this is really stupid. Chris, you should just do riff tracks on these meetings. All right, here we go.
Just clarify something real quick. Do you have an officer that's supposed to be there
Yeah.
from Ball State?
Not from Ball State. We have a retired cop.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. You won't find, in my opinion, you definitely won't find a Muncie police officer anywhere that's serving alcohol working in that capacity. And I don't want to speak for the university, but I'm pretty sure they've got the same. I don't know about retired and what all's going on there, but police officer is a police officer. And I don't think that you're going to find one that's active right now.
We don't serve alcohol either at our events. Alcohol is not even brought into our events. Per IFC regulations, we're not allowed to have any alcohol into the event. Given that they're Ball State students, we can't trust if they say, hey, I'm 21. We can't trust that. We can't check IDs either because IFC and Ball State doesn't pay us to check IDs. We're not trained to check IDs. So when they come up, if they have a cup, it's immediately dumped out. They don't even come into the confines. They don't come into the construction fencing unless their drink is dumped out. They don't bring cans in, bottles. I mean, literally anything. They come in dry. They come in with nothing. And again, like I said, if anything happens, we handle those situations as they go. It's really hard for us to do stuff. Like we can't expand as a chapter. And like our job is to expand and get members and teach those men our values and bring them up as gentlemen. And I think our chapter does that really well. But I know parties aren't the end all be all, and they aren't the most important thing. But on this campus, you can't run and build numbers. I mean, there's 5 fraternities that just grew by 30 members because they're on Riverside and they get protected by their houses. We don't get protected because we don't have a house, and we're struggling to get members because they see these big party houses and they don't see the trouble they get in. They just see, oh, we have a big house for parties. And we're on the other side of that spectrum where we kind of get nabbed by the police and by the city for not having these ordinances. And that's why I try to work closely with you guys. But
any other comments or questions? Do we have a motion to bring this to the board for a vote?
I don't even want to hear I'm like pausing this. I don't want to hear these people say no. I don't want to hear these people say no. For the love of God, I got to go to the next Board of Works meeting. Next Wednesday, I've got to go here, and I'm going to gripe at these people.
Wait. This is a procedural.
Yes, that's
Question.
what I'm just, going in my mind too.
Do we make the motion positive or negative?
Well, whatever you want to do.
Okay. I move that we deny the request for a noise exemption.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been seconded. Any other comments or questions?
I'd like to make a
Go
comment.
for it.
As you stated earlier, this doesn't mean you can't have the event. In fact, I'd almost encourage you to go ahead and do it and demonstrate you can keep the noise level and the associated problems that occurred in the past to a minimum. That would indicate to us that you are able to
Prove that you're a
conduct
good little
responsible
boy,
event.
and then we'll give you a little pat on the head.
Yeah, right.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
And we're not.
Give
doubting you
it,
can't
give,
do
No, I know. I'm just saying without the noise exemption, like there's no way I'm going to be able to get under 45 feet from my distance. There's just no possible way. I mean, there's not a speaker in the world, unless somebody's using a speaker this size, there's no way I'm going to, it's really hard to communicate the type of things that we need. I mean,
well,
Thank you.
less than a month ago, I got this approved without chief approval. That's all I'm saying. I mean, less than a month ago, I came in here day before,
What-
got
we were-
two approved for even past midnight. So that's what's frustrating on my side. And I get it's protocols, and I get IFC and the Ball State's trying to do that too, but
We've
like I said, we're
just
kind of-
been in the midst of a tumultuous time that is causing us to make sure that we look at every area and pause, and so that we can take time to make sure that what we're doing on our end is right. And so, okay, we'll bring this to a vote. And all in favor of denying this claim, say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Okay. Again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other business brought before the Board of Works? Okay, thank you very much for coming.
I'm so disgusted. I am so disgusted. I'm going to the Board of Works next Wednesday, and I'm going to take Yoko's comments. Tumultuous times. I'm going to say, just FYI, you're forcing these people into more dangerous situations by this nonsense that you're doing. So FYI, when we have a young college kid that is picked up because he just mowed 3 people down because he's driving drunk, or he's flopped out into the White River because he hit the wall coming off of Riverside, and he's flipped out into White River, that's on you guys. This is definitely ridiculous, man. This is so disgusting. I don't know how many times I've had to talk about having parties with this man's son. We never ask for any kind of exemptions. You just apologize later. This is insane. All right, so enough of that. We will someone tell that to the frat hold silent disco like they do on like they do on cruise ships. Oh, that's good. That'll be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us this evening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the candidate interview. I appreciate Holly Juip's time. I appreciate her coming on the show. I'm going to ask you guys to do what it is that you do. Please share the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word around with everyone that you know. And if you have not hit that like button, please do so. That would be very helpful. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please do so. And just remember the postscript I want to tell you tonight. The postscript is, if you don't like something, don't watch it. If you don't like somebody, don't engage with them. There's so many better things to do in this world than engaging with someone you don't like, watching something you don't like, and being an absolute complete waste of skin, tool bag, asshat. Good night, Mr. Jones. From all of us here at the Political Spotlight, recorded deep within inside House 57 at the Lighthouse Studio. We will see you tomorrow for a candidate interview with council incumbent Mr. Brandon Garrett. Good night.